What's up, YouTube? So today we're gonna talk about how to set your gains. First, dressed up, going to a little wedding. A lot of my girlfriends in. But so how to set your gains properly? Well, the best thing to use will be probably the DD1, or if your amplifier has a clip light. So if your amplifier has a clip light, you don't need a DD1, and it just makes things a whole lot easier. If your amplifier does not have a clip light, it's going to make things a little bit more difficult. But if you do have a DD1, that's going to help out a lot. So those are the two main ways that I would recommend. So the first thing you want to do, we're just going to say you're setting some 212s or something like that. What you want to do is go back to your amplifier and turn everything on. Okay, make sure you disconnect speaker wires, make sure everything is good to go, running like it's normally would. And you want to make sure your voltage, if you're running like a 16 volt, let's just say you have a high voltage, you want to kind of set your gains in the lower 15s. That way, in case after you give out demos, your voltage goes down. If it's just a daily driver, you're setting gains, then all you really want to do is go ahead, take the speaker wires out, and you want to make sure you have a multimeter. Okay, that's very important. And what you want to do is put your two probes in the little input-output section, positive, negative. And what you want to do is run a 40 hertz test tone. So 40 hertz is just ideal for the subs. Make sure it has, I set mine with -5 dB. So a lot of things, like I said, if you play a lot of rebass music, stuff like that, -5 dB is great. Like I said, all I use is mainly just DJ Rusticles when I'm demoing. So I would use 40 hertz, -5 dB. You can go on YouTube, you can download some files. I use DJ Rusticles. I have a little test tone. And you want to make sure, before you start, you want to make sure you know where your radio clip's at. So my radio clips in my Jeep, it goes all the way up to about 60 without clipping. But I normally set it about 58. So what you want to do is find where your radio clip's at, or you can just set a certain point. So let's say if your radio goes up to 40, it'll probably start clipping around 35, 36, depending on the brand of the radio, or what kind of settings you have going to the radio. But like I said, a couple clicks from the top should be fine. So if you have 40, I would set it for maybe 35, 36, just to be on the safe side. And you want to go ahead and have your bass knob, if you have that, turn that all the way up. Turn your radio up to that clipping point on your radio. Put a -5 dB 40 hertz test tone going through. And then what you want to do is make sure you start out with your gain all the way down. So turn it all the way to the left. And then slowly go up a little bit farther until you either see the clip light and it's going off, and you kind of just inch it back just a little bit. But keep an eye, if you have a voltmeter hooked up or multimeter, you want to look at what the output is. So for example, my Temp's 15K, it can go up to about 135 volts. I think that's what it is, amps, something like that, until it starts clipping. And then you want to set it just below that. That way, you can go all the way up to that point on the radio and you can play. So that's what I would do. Or if you have your DD1, it's a little bit more expensive of a tool. In case your amp doesn't have a clip light, you basically just do the same thing essentially. Put the probes in there, do the same test, and then raise the gain up until you look on a device, and it'll tell you when it starts distorting. So once it starts little tapping distortion, you want to just set it back just a little bit, and you want to just take it out, and you should be good to go. Then you can turn your music off, and you can play music, whatever you want to do, hook the speakers back up, and you should be fine. Like I said, the two ways you need to do it is if your amp has a clip light, you can use a multimeter and just read what your output voltage from the amp is, and kind of give you a ballpark of where it starts clipping. If you don't have a clip light on your amplifier, which most of them do, then you do want to use a DD1. Some people say, "Oh, I can hear it. I can hear when it starts clipping." That's very hard to do. I'm not saying nobody can do it, but if you're just starting out or you're just not that experienced car audio, you're not just going to be listening to it and know right where it's clipping. So I would get that, invest in a tool like that, or take it to a shop that has a DD1 and they can get it done for you. A fair warning though, if you do set your gains with 40 hertz negative 5 dB, that does not mean play it at that clipping point full tilt on random songs and things like that, because sometimes that will clip. There's some songs that are basically based differently. So instead of a negative 5, it'd be a +2, +3, 0. And if you don't know what I mean, basically, if you tune it to a negative 5 dB, you can also do it to a 0 dB as well. But a lot of music, especially if you listen to rebasses around negative 5.5 dB, kind of basically the lower number you get, back towards 0 and 1 is going to be the loudness. So it's just basically making the bass louder, which is good, but it's going to clip your amplifier. So I would just try not to full tilt it if you're just randomly listening to songs on your radio, whether it be through the radio, whether it's YouTube Music, Pandora, whatever you listen to. Just don't full tilt it. You want to make sure you know what you have. Use rebase music like I do. I know that they're all set to negative 5.5 dB, so I can turn it all the way up full tilt, and my amplifiers are not clipped. But like I said, before this video gets too long, that's how to set your gains on an amplifier. Mids and highs is essentially the same exact way, except for mids and highs, you do want to play a 1000 hertz test tone instead of 40. That's basically the general difference in that. But other than that, guys, if you guys have any questions, any opinions on anything, you can comment down below on the video. And I appreciate you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Peace out.